We were in
Good evening, everybody.
slow on the weekend, so I was bored out of more than half the time. But then apparently they were really busy yesterday and had a lot of people, or today, and a lot of people got
When you're ready.
volunteered. And I was like,
Don't let me rush you.
they're gonna make you come in. I was 90% sure I would.
I think I prefer the one that plugged. Yeah, as much as I argued about it.
Can we work with this one this time?
I can work with it. As long as everybody can hear me. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Turn it up, right?
What? All right. Got a big list of items to discuss today, so let's jump right in here. Okay. First of all, we sent out a swarm call list. We want to make sure that you want to be on it. We're trying to think of a way that we can get this a little bit more bee club friendly. In other words, I'm getting a lot of calls, and I'm getting a lot of going out and seeing stuff, and I want to make sure that you guys don't think I'm doing it because I want to have that many bees. I don't, okay? I've got my share, but I want to make sure that everybody who wants swarm calls has the ability to get called, okay? So that's what we're trying to do with this swarm call list that we're working on. So if you're on the swarm call list, we're going to try and develop something over the course of the next year, because this has been, it's almost, with swarm season is, we got another couple months of good swarms, and then they get smaller as the year goes on. But I just want to make sure that everybody gets a handle on getting a chance to get a swarm if you are in the area. So my dream is you know, like TBA or somebody has those maps where they have little teardrops. You push on the teardrop that's close to you and it shows who's there. And I'm hoping that we can direct the public to that type of a website where they can start calling the people who are closest to them, because that's the quickest way to get a swarm captured, right? Time is money, right? And if give it too much time, they're off deciding where they want to go next and they're gone. So, oh, there's Rhonda. Yay. So anyway, that's one of those, if you want to be on the swarm call list, make sure that you check with Heather and get your name and address and phone number and contact information that you want to be called with for your swarms, okay? Now, we want to have a summer barbecue, a summer picnic type thing. So did we discuss dates last time? No. So this is new. And then I'm going to have an announcement just shortly that should get y'all attention. We'll see. It's not on the list. It's a secret. We're looking for dates that everybody might be interested in having a picnic. Okay, so that we're open to ideas right now. I can tell you that July is still open for me pretty much. Not that I have to be there, but you know, as long as somebody can cook is there, and it's not me, so I can try a good thing. Yeah, but the few years before C, we all got together down at the dam and barbecued. I mean, cooked hamburgers or hot dogs, and everybody brought a dish. We had a great time, so we want to kind of go in on that venue for this year. Does anybody have any preferences? Right before school starts, right after school starts?
Before school starts, not during summer camp.
Oh,
Not
okay.
during the weekend.
Yeah,
You want to pass those dates on to us?
I can't remember what week is summer camp.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. We'll get us some dates
And vote on the dates.
and vote on the dates. How's that? We might want to get together sooner than our projected thing to come up with some dates. Okay, so we'll get those dates headed your way. All right.
Chris, could we maybe like do a show of hands July or August or something, so we have a...
Yeah, late August. How's late August? Anybody think?
Hands up for July, if July works.
I mean,
We're more about
We got
the day.
7. Okay.
okay,
August,
Probably
last
August.
month of August.
I'd say July probably had that one on the dates. but
What
if it-
about weekend versus weeknights? weekend better?
Weekend.
We will be there. How many people cannot do weekend? Like, no way. Okay. No, you guys work weekend.
Okay,
We'll
so
make Saturday
weekends, so we're gonna look at July and August for weekends and give you some available
Or we
dates.
can take off. Okay, all right.
Okay, all right.
July's not our busy time, so maybe we can get it.
Speaking of, let's see, Cheatham County Fair, I got a call from Ronnie. He wants to make sure we are doing the same types of venues that we did before COVID at the fair this year, which means we have an observation hive where people can come by and look at it. We have honey sticks that kids can buy for, I don't know what the price was, but anyway, seems to me they scarfed those down.
25 cents.
Yeah, we made money on that one, okay? And we have pictures of hives and pictures of frames and pictures of bees and for that type of thing, but we'll need volunteers to man the booth on the dates that the fair is, which is the 16th through the 20th of August. So there's your one August date you can't make. So just keep that in mind. We'll start tagging on you a little bit closer to that date on the times, and we'll have a venue on what the best times are.
Oh, yeah, so we'll be able to show up during the weekend.
So usually you just stand around and look silly and talk to yourselves, you know. But if it rains, everybody comes in and wants to know about bees, you know, that kind of thing. Usually have our honey exhibits. You've got, yeah, I sent that to you, didn't I? Brochure.
Yes, we have brochure.
Okay, we'll mail that out to the membership to show you how they want the honey to be exhibited, okay? And the
Was
different,
that, Chris, was that last year's flyer?
I think so.
We're asking them to, it says a quart jar.
Yeah.
We're asking them to change that to the typical 1 pound jar.
1 bottle jar.
The queen line, I think that's kind of what it's called, 1 pound queen line.
So if you're going to exhibit, you might want to start looking for queen line 1 pound jars, because we want to try and keep all the exhibits similar, okay? So that we can not be seeing somebody come in with a brown quart jar and, oh, we know that guy, we're going to vote for him. You know, we don't want the judges to be, you know, favoritism, that kind of thing. I don't put my honey in there, so it doesn't matter. All right, so remember the Cheatham County Fair, this year's August 16th through the 20th. So we'll have an exhibit, and we have 2 different types. Who all's got a observation hive? Besides me and Mickey. Mickey and I actually have 2. I have a large one that stands up from Nicholas. Yeah. And then we have a smaller one that definitely needs cleaning. But yeah. But I'll see if we can. The smaller one we had up on a wall and hanging there, I think, and the kids were looking at it. They could find the queen. Generally had her marked or something like that. So that's the kind of thing we have there. We also have some really interesting, over the years we've had some really good exhibits. Paul's wife always had some wax candles that were like a ball, a shape that she had painted and done such nice work. So if you have artwork that's bees related, I think that's in the exhibits too. You've got a couple of months to look at what the fair wants to see and what they're going to judge. So run with it, guys. Come on, run with it. You get to listen to all the trucks doing their tractor pulls and everything. All right. Now we've got to talk about a little money. Okay. Rhonda, if you got a money? She's here.
I don't think Rhonda has one. That's still me.
Oh, it's still you?
Yeah.
Okay, we haven't switched yet, but we were going to switch.
Rhonda and Jen are
Rhonda and Jen are going to switch jobs because they feel more comfortable. She feels more comfortable as a money person to do the money, and we have In any case, secretary, she'll be the secretary, she'll be the treasurer. All those in favor? Let me tell you, it was real close to not having either one, so I thought, whoa, timeout. So I'm glad they figured that one out, so.
So in terms of money, what I had on that, Chris, was the TBA flex spending. So we have $400 from TBA, Tennessee Beekeepers Association, that we can spend. They're just going to give it to us with approval. So it has to go for education. It can pretty much go for anything. It cannot go for bees. It cannot go for queens. It can't go for anything that will die. But it can go for pretty much.
Maybe we can make a brochure. I know not a $400 brochure, but a brochure for the people at the fair.
Yeah, it could be for brochures, it can be for education, it can be for any of those things. We just have to, once we have an idea, we just have to present it to them, they approve it, and then they send us money, send them receipts, and they send us money. But it has to be spent, I have to double check the date, but I think it has to be, the receipts have to be submitted by October 31st.
October
I have to double
31st.
check that date, but we have some time, but we don't have all the time in the world. So that's from TBA.
Another thought is we could catch some swarm video and call it a swarm video for education. I mean, this has been a busy year this year. So anybody who hasn't seen a swarm, done a swarm, or you must be working hard at another job. That's all I can say. Because they're out there. Okay, we also have 416 dollars from Ronnie. Ronnie Barron called me and said he's got money. We have to tell him what we want with it. They buy it and then we get it. Okay? And I think it's just over $400.
Yeah, I think it was like 416 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So money's coming out of the woodwork now, so we can.
Spend it.
I don't think we can do like a barbecue with picnic money or something like that, but I think his is education too.
Yeah, I think his is exclusively education.
Yes.
TBA is a little more outside of that. It could be observation hives, it could be brochures, it could be for education,
It could be for equipment.
equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a broader use from TBA.
So we have a little money that says new beekeepers. We could probably narrow it down and, maybe get you something like that, or, use it as to help them out. Go ahead.
Well, maybe we could use it to help pay for the website because I believe URLs aren't cheap.
I think we get a pretty good deal with our website.
Yeah.
It's paid for. Yeah. That's what he does for a living.
Did you see anything new equipment for down the dam? Or did you buy?
We bought new equipment last year for the dam. So,
We were looking for ideas for, so in addition to TBA, in addition to that money, we have the memorial fund, because we were looking at putting a bench down there.
yeah, for Mike Lavis, we were going to get a bench put down there. So we're still talking to the guys down at the dam, and they're looking into it. I got to talk to them because sometimes they don't look into it very quickly. So maybe we'll look into it a little quicker. Okay, good idea about the chair.
That I'd seen some like
The bench.
people selling their
And,
stuff on Facebook.
So those are the kinds of things we can use the money for. So if you have ideas, please help us out. Can't do all the things for us, okay? So we kind of want something new, different. Why does it have to just be honeybees? Can it be pollinators? Can it be anything? I think we could probably stretch their limitations maybe a little bit too.
TBA specifically said it could be for pollinators.
Maybe for some flower seeds for the dam. Although if you haven't been down to the dam to see our dam bees,
I seen the bees today because we were out there for field day, but got to only see them from afar.
did you see the flowers? The
they're-
flowers are now starting to take a little bit better shape. They were all one type at one time,
Yeah, there wasn't much that I saw.
So maybe we can get them some new flower seeds to put in there,
Yeah.
But I did go down yesterday. My son was out of town for Mother's Day, so I had some extra time. And I went down, and both hives are looking good, except for one's without a queen. So I did what any beekeeper with a little bit of experience will do, is I decided to steal a frame of eggs and larvae from another hive, which is right next door. And they did have eggs and larvae. And I did a quick, what they call OTS method, on-the-spot queen rearing. And the guy who does that is Mel Discipone. And if you haven't seen his book, he charges for it online, $75. I happen to have a copy. So, if you want to see it, that's a great way to learn how to do on-the-spot queen rearing. And essentially what you're doing is you're mimicking a graft, okay? You pull this frame out and you look for eggs, you look for larvae, you look for brood. You go from the brood, you go down, the larva is going to be white, right? Any beekeeper not shaking their head, I'm going to question you later. Okay? All right. After you get to the white larva, you go to smaller white larvae, okay? Then you go to little tiny white larvae, okay, with just a spot of royal jelly in it. That's what you're looking for. Okay, you're looking for that little spot of royal jelly. Then, because everybody has their hive tool in their hand when they go out to the bee yard, you just take 1/3 of that cup that's got the egg, or the larva in it, excuse me, I did it, and pull it down, and it leaves a gap there for them to fill in, and they go, oh, isn't that nice? We've got room to put a queen cell here. And that's what they do. And I did it 3 times on one frame. Give it to them, and then I'll go back and check them in about 5 to 10 days just to make sure they did pull it out. And then I've got a cool little wheel here that I gave my pretty colored wheel to somebody else the other day. Anyway, it'll tell you, you put the date that you grafted, and it's quotes around grafted, which is the graft date. Put it on the date that you just did that little move. And then you can look down there and tell you what day she's going to emerge, what day she's going to start laying, what day she's going on a mating flight. The wheel says all these kind of things. Now you can pass this around, but if it gets lost, I took some colored pens and made different colors out of this one that I did, which is really pretty cool. So when you're going out there to your bee yard and you have the same problem in your hive, you can just whip out this little wheel, and it's JD's or J, somebody's got the names on the back of it. What's the name on the back of it? Somebody's Gadgets, okay? JC's Gadgets or something.
I'm sure you can make it normal.
DC's Gadgets, yeah. So I got that cool little gadget. Anyway, he's got other bee gadgets that he sells online. In any case, you just go into that hive that you know that has got eggs and larvae, and make sure that the queen's not on it, and put it in the hive that doesn't have it.
My
And they will make themselves a new queen.
all the sawdust. Anybody needs
You don't have to panic and go, I need a queen now. Well, unless, and here's the other good thing about not having a queen. Okay, number one, they have to make their own queen. That takes a queen takes 16 days from egg to emergence. And that 16 days, the mites only have a certain amount of larvae to go hiding into to procreate. Once the drone cells are gone, they'll go to something else, and they'll all get in there really quick because there's nothing for them to go to procreate. And that's what they're there to do too. Okay? So they go in there and they get too many in one little cell and they all die because they're starving to death in there. There's not enough food for them to eat. So that gives you what's called a brood break in the mite cycle, which is one of the best ways to get rid of those stupid mites. Okay? So, any questions on that one? That was my one demo. Okay. Okay. The Vice President, could you,
Heather, you're up.
you're up.
Sorry, I'm
You
chit-chatting
want to
there.
report on the master beekeeping class?
Yeah, and can we tell you about the website since that's already up?
Yes, I'd love to hear about your website.
Thank you, Tammy.
Yes, why don't we hear from Heather on that?
Okay, and then we can talk
I
about
can sit down.
do those two things. Okay, so I won't be by the mic, so hopefully I'll be loud enough. And I'm representing Tammy over here too. And so we wanted to, and we have definitely had input from the officers, so everyone. But this is what our new website looks like. So let me scroll down. First of all, the header is all pictures from people in our club. So nothing on here is stock photos. Everything here are people. Jen, right there, is in the white bee suit. We have Janine and Lloyd. That is your swarm capture. And then we have Chris, and we have our Scion, and we have Cammie just right here in the header. But we have some others on the website. One of the things we really like to do, and I know I've said it before, but hopefully we can emphasize more, is if we can get your photos, then we can put them on here and just be able to, brag on you and talk about what we do in the community. So I know you guys are, we all take pictures of our bees. We all do, right? I mean, we don't take really awesome pictures always. I mean, mine are always just amateur, but we are out there snapping. So if you ever want to send a few my way or any of the officers, please do, because we really, really like to promote you, and it doesn't matter what you're doing, anything bee related at all. So we now have something really catchy, and I think giving us people to look. If you scroll down the page, the goal of our website, of course, is education and also for you to keep you in the loop. So right up here, we put a Got a Swarm, click here. If we click on that, that will take us to the swarm page that we currently have. And I should say everything on here is in progress. It's all gonna, get updated, changed, whatever. But right now, so this actually is Chris right here getting a swarm out of our backyard. And if you scroll down, it just talks a little bit about swarms and what they're like. I know you can't read all that, but this currently is the swarm list we have. There is Robin, Chris, Gerald, Mickey, this Chris, and Gigi and Gary. So those are the only people currently on it. I'm not really sure if they even want to be on it. They just have been on it. So they might be like, I really don't want you to keep putting my name up there. But if you want to be on it, we just need to know so that we can add you and your name can be on there. And actually what Chris was talking about, so here, and I know again you're not going to be able to see the details, but if I click on one of these, there we go, it pops up and it just says your name, a phone number, and the area you're in. So it does not give out your address. We're not sharing, bee people's addresses for stealing and anything else. But it just says Ashland City or Chattanooga or whatever. So that whoever's calling goes, oh yeah, I'm located there, and they can do it. Now we had other people on here, so we'll add them back if they want to be on. But if you want to be on here, let us know, because we have, just like Chris said, been inundated with swarms calls. Unfortunately, we're getting things that are 3 or 4 hours away too, and that's kind of crazy. Who knows if the swarm's even going to be there, when we get there.
And we are working on compiling a list of other beekeepers outside of Cheatham County in Middle Tennessee. So if we do get swarm calls for 3 hours away or something, we can direct them to that. Or if someone's calling you and you're on the swarm list and they're 2 hours away, you'll have access to that Middle Tennessee swarm.
Is there a way for, we're in Ashland City, so I have no idea how to actually catch a swarm, but is there a way for me to be able to hook up with somebody who does so that I can learn?
That's a really good example. So really good question, Morgan, thank you. So we have people who we want, hooking up with mentors because, Morgan's saying, I don't know how to catch a swarm and I might want to learn. But also, somebody else too, people who need to catch swarms, we don't want any more swarms.
You're doing it for the bees.
Yeah, we've been really swarmy this year and we don't want any more swarms. You want one? Yeah, so we were talking that when Chris was at our house the other day, we were saying, who needs a swarm, right now? Because if you go out, you may just be like, hey, I'm free, I'll go out and I'm willing to donate it. Or you might want to keep it, and that's fine too. So we kind of need to like figure that out. Who's willing to go out, who needs a swarm, and then also who maybe needs to learn.
Yeah.
Because until you do it. So I'm thinking, you know, how we can communicate this, and hopefully we can either tell us here at the meeting tonight, I'm one of those people, or you can, you know, email us and let us know too. So we can try to funnel people into their correct place that they want to be.
Is there a way to like sync it with the Tennessee Beekeepers Association's map?
We're actually, that idea got brought up. So he just said, can we sync this whole swarm catching thing with the TBA since they have so many resources? And we're working with Tracy, our Middle Tennessee rep from the TBA. And Chris suggested, wouldn't it be awesome if the TBA and we could all work together to do just what you said? So we were gonna see if maybe they're on board with somehow doing that to make it a little easier. We're just trying to figure it out. I know sometimes a couple bee clubs do like a bee hotline, and somebody has the phone. It's kind of like being on call. I don't know if anybody wants to be on call.
Not 24/7.
Yeah, I know, right?
After the 5th or 6th swarm, they'll probably want to be off call.
Exactly. Well, we were talking about paying you to be on call. I don't know, because we're just trying to figure out how to make this a little bit more efficient, because we've just been crazy with them. So anyways, really quick, let me just show you the rest. Again, expect this to kind of change, but then there also is a thing like found a swarm. We cannot say this enough. Robin, where are you, Robin? Right here. Robin, I moved you to the top of the list on swarm calls because Chris is getting all the calls, and I want to see if moving you to the top of the list gives you all the calls. So if you get bombarded with calls, let us know, because we don't know who's referring Chris. if it's our website, or if we did a Google search, we just were like playing, we did a Google search, and Cheatham County's website comes up, I don't know, like 5th or 6th, with Chris's phone number. So if you're just like out there in community and you just Google, then you get her phone number. So
I've gotten them from White House, I've gotten them from South Nashville down near 840. And I'm going, you know, by the time I get there, that thing's going to be gone, so, you know. And there's so many times I said that very same thing. Call me before if I'm not there yet, because they'll leave as soon as they decide where they want to go, okay? Sure enough, I just put my suit, my bee suit in the car, in a box, and was just getting ready to grab my keys when somebody called me back and said, yep, you're right, they're gone. So that's how quickly it happens. So yeah, I try to get them when I can, just because I know I'm retired, and everybody thinks if you're retired, you're not doing anything. So.
No, it just means you control your own schedule.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's not true either.
Oh, there.
I'm still married.
Doing control.
In any case, it's been fun. Let me just tell you about this group of officers that we have. This is the best, really, a really good group of officers. They can think, and they can do it on their own, and they can call you and say, is this okay? And it's great. You know, I barely answering my phone lately, so that's great. You know, when it really comes to getting things done, these girls are all in. So please, hands. And they do good work too. They do good work.
okay, feel free to look at this later, but we want you to know something really important. Up here at the top, under membership, this is our online membership. Somebody just said to me, ooh, I need to bring money next time, but you can do it online now if you choose. Again, so we're minimizing where this information goes. We will not share your private info. It's just for us to be able to send in things to you, and then also just to sign you up as a member. So we're really excited that this is on here. It's 100% security, certificate, safe. I didn't mention this, but our website person, Kevin Eggers, who's been here since Paul Carter was here, is the person who continues to set the foundation to this, and then he lets Cammie and I and the others go in and like mess it up and add stuff to it. But and then he fixes it, and we're like, thanks, Kevin. But he's amazing, and he does all this for free. So just as a heads up, if Kevin some days says, he's been doing it like 10, how long has Paul been gone? For 10 years since he started it?
At least 8 years, yeah.
So if Kevin at some point says, I just can't do this anymore, he pays for our hosting, and he does all the work, and he doesn't ask for any money ever. So we're really, really
Test the
fortunate.
membership form with money.
He does he have to get reimbursed for that? I'm wondering, because when we needed to practice, and he'll do a pretend membership, and he'll send it through to Jen with real money, his money. So he's a good guy and super smart, and we're really fortunate because he's responsible for all of this.
Let's be sure and invite him to the picnic, okay?
Yes, we're for sure invited to the picnic. And the only other thing I wanted to point out is we are posting articles and things. And so there's something on here about, if you go on, there's something about the TBA having our photo in the Hive tool, and you can see the photo. There's a thing on swarm season, it's a little bit more for the public. And then Cammie even wrote a really fun article about stepping on a bee, and we're just trying to give both the public and our members some kind of, interesting content, but we welcome you to contribute. So if you want to write something or take pictures or help or anything, Jenny, I saw you like going like this.
Even beginning beekeepers have got questions, and the fact that they're asking questions, that's a good thing, because it also gets us old beekeepers thinking about what it was like when we were.
Absolutely.
I can remember back that far.
So Heather, that brought up a good point. Is there a place in there for new beekeepers to contact us? Is there a contact us?
There is, so there isn't a form, and that is a good question we can do. Where it says, you can probably read, it says interested in beekeeping. It says our meeting information, and there is an email link.
Got it.
So we do at least have an email at this time, but it's a great idea to maybe make something more geared towards if you're new, specifically talk to us and let us know. And that's what we're trying to say is here, we're super open to making this what the club wants. We're just trying to be updating. So if you see something and you're like, hey, another club does this, or I wish you guys did this, let us know. That's kind of it, but we're just excited to have it. And then the other thing I wanted to briefly show you is I did go to the Master Beekeeping class, the UT Master Beekeeping class. There are, and I know some people in here are going.
Yep.
You guys are going?
Yep.
Anybody else gonna go? Super. Well, I'm not gonna tell you the class at all. That's not the point of this. So you'll get to go too. But I wanted to just say to anyone who hasn't been, a couple things, and I'm sure there's people in here I know who've done it. But it is 2 days, 2 8-hour days. It's geared towards beginners. So you will get in the class with people who don't have bees yet, and then people who do, all good. Some of the things they cover. I took screenshots when they put these up, so I apologize for the lack of quality, but I was like, wait, don't move that slide yet, and I take a picture, because this was really interesting. This is most of Tennessee, and the red and yellow, it doesn't matter what color, those are all the Tennessee beekeeper hives that are showing up. 42,000 colonies are registered in Tennessee. That was shocking. And almost 50 associations. There's 7,500 registered beekeepers. This is Cheatham County, and I know again you're having to kind of stretch here, but you can see that, and you can see obviously where Nashville is. But those are all the registered hives in Cheatham County, and there's not that many.
Cheatham County does.
I just did one more.
You just did one more. Way to go. And notice that big blank spot in the middle of the county. I was like, why are there no hives there? That's why. Cheatham Wildlife Management Area just shoots through the middle of the state. And I was personally at home, I was like, why is there a blank spot? That's why. So that's us, and that's our number of registered hives. And this is honey production in the location it happens as self-reported. Obviously, they're not running around checking on honey, But I'm not wondering what's up with that one in the bottom left corner that's that gigantic circle. It's not Memphis because Memphis is in the corner. I don't know.
Somebody out there's got a huge apiary probably.
Something. But this is where they're reporting honey is being made, which I thought was really interesting. Just to repeat, this is really for our new folks because I know people who've been doing this know this. So just kind of throwing this out here. You do have to register your colonies, and I'll tell you that when I was in the master beekeeping class, there were several people who were like, you do, and they have bees, and they've been doing it, and they had no clue, and my tutor was like, yeah. So you do have to do it within 30 days, and it's free, and I didn't know this, but you are not legally liable to be sued if you get stung or someone dies from a bee sting as long as you registered your colonies. I did not know that. You do have to update only every 3 years, and he said, please don't send in, like every time you get a hive.
Okay.
And I also thought it was really interesting that no inspector will come onto your property unless you are there and you agree. So he said, absolutely, they'll never come on. And then, of course, if you don't register, those are their things. I wanted to show you this. If you haven't registered and you're new, this is the, if you go to the website that's in that top corner, you can register online. And the online looks like, this is kind of new. And it looks like this. And you will just fill it out. You can just fill it all online. You don't have to do anything. You can even put your GPS coordinates. And Chris did this like last week, and it works great. And you can put everything in, and you don't have to do all that paperwork and stuff anymore. So,
Is it on the website?
Yes.
yeah, so if you're on the tn.gov website, then you can just, I know you guys can't read that, but there's like a little thing that says register online, and you can just do that online.
Do we have a link to that from our website, Heather?
Let's do that, because we don't. Let's do that. Good idea.
It would be nice.
For all of us who don't have to sift through 5 hyperlinks.
Before you can register?
No, you can just do one. That's a really good question. No minimum number of hives. Yeah, yes, sir.
Jill, after you sent it in, because it was over 6 months before I got the response back in the paperwork to say that it had been accepted and registered and all that stuff, so.
Was that recently, or do you know?
About a year ago.
Okay, it took like another 6 months just to get your documentation.
Yeah, after I submitted it, it was 6 months to get the documentation.
Dang.
Okay, good to know. So that's really good to know they didn't lose it.
Updated mine online
Yeah.
and got a response within 30 days, so,
Did you get?
I think it just depends.
When was
like
that?
2 months ago.
Super. Thank you. Okay.
I think they're trying to streamline it and get it better, be member friendly.
From 6 months to 3 months,
Well, not that I'm defending Mike, but there was no employees in that office, like, for years. They had nobody, and every now and then they get a person to work, so, and that was when everything was paper done.
Oh.
So that's why it took, so now that they're online, it's definitely a lot more
That'll help.
efficient. And I will say, on this same Tennessee.gov, there's a number if you feel like you have a pesticide kill.
Oh, you're gonna have me.
Okay.
Hold on, 'cause that's it, Jessica. You're right.
Later, Jessica.
Been there, done that.
Hey there, Jessica, thank you. You can tell us. And I was gonna mention this just because I thought it was worthwhile.
It's
Not
very worth it.
that not everyone knows, but he did mention if you suspect you have a kill off from pesticide, you gotta call right away to this number because they only have a very short window that they'll investigate because the pesticide degrades. Don't take any bee samples, they won't accept them if you do. And then they mentioned a couple things, but you had an experience where your bees died?
I mean, yeah, they treat it like a crime scene. So if you go out to your yard, which I did, I had 6 hives dead bees all on the ground, on the entrance, opening hives, and there's 3 inches of dead bees. I had no idea about this. I went through 10 emotions within 10 minutes and called numerous people, and then at TBA conference this year, I was talking about it, and then finally it's like, somebody randomly was like, oh, there's a number to call. No, and I've been keeping bees 8 years. I did not know there was a number to call. So now there is a number to call. So if you feel like you've lost it to pesticides, call that number immediately. And don't touch the hive. They
truly treat it like a crime scene.
That's good.
And they said they purposely did not give you a email because this is so important and they need to know right this second. And you can also use this number just if you have questions like, hey, my neighbor's spraying and I don't really know if it's cool, or any kind of questions related to pesticides. This is not just like my bees are dead. So this number was right here. I thought, oh, that's worthwhile. I'm glad I know now. Inspector.
Probably another good link on the website.
Another thing we should put on the website.
Why not?
Absolutely. Thank you for the suggestion. I know we can't use it with us, so I'm not writing it down. But yeah, you are right.
There's another website that you can go and register your bees on, Drift Watch.
Oh,
I
yes.
don't know if y'all can talk
Okay.
about that too, that's helpful.
So Drift, is this the one we're talking about, Field Watch? So with Field Watch, and we can put that link on our website, if someone self-reports that they're spraying, and they have to self-report, then if you are, because our hives are registered, if you are in their neighborhood, then the state will call you and say, heads up, they're spraying, they've self-reported, and we wanted to give you a heads up. So registering with Field Watch, I think, is worthwhile too, and we'll put that up. Called Field Watch, yeah, but it is reliant on their self-reporting. I don't know if they do or not. I just don't know.
Let your bees out.
Send her to their bedroom.
Okay, Chris is going to talk about the inspector class, so I'm not really going to say anything here, other than when we do have an inspector class, a local inspector, which would be us who take the class, you have to have 5 years of beekeeping experience, but then it lets you inspect up to 10 hives. So if any of us do that, and Chris will explain about that class, if you've got the 5 years, and you want to be able to inspect our neighbors and that's, he said that's its purpose. It's for us to inspect each other, obviously not ourselves, if you're an inspector, because there's a little bit of a conflict of interest, but if you want to do that, then this class would be worth taking. Now I did ask him, are you at all lenient or flexible on less than 5 years? And he said, not really. And he said, the reason is that he said, I need the people taking it to have a lot of knowledge about disease and pests. And if I have newer people taking it, we spend the whole time answering their questions about pests. And he said, and we just don't really have time in the course. He did say that he was open to people auditing. So he said, if you aren't qualified and you're okay with not getting a certificate because you don't meet the qualifications and there's room, he was okay with people sitting in for the knowledge.
And no questions.
And no questions about pesticides. I didn't say that, but that's a good point. So anyways, if it's less than 10 hives, more than 10 hives, you have to do Mike or one of his people. Almost done. Just wanted to let you know, if you haven't signed up and you're interested, this is what it is. It's $125, 2 8-hour days. All of the classes are rural. None of them are near us. I don't know. I had to drive to Van Buren County. This was just our class, and then I had 3 questions, mostly for newbies. Does the swarm have to be inspected? Yes or no? No, because it doesn't have any brood. So if you are dealing with something without brood, you don't have to inspect it. Question, difference between a colony and a hive. I didn't ever think about this, so I thought it was worth repeating. Colony is your bees, and your hive is your structure. Question, why are varroa mites more attracted to drone brood? Oh, this is interesting. Drones are in their cells 3 days longer than workers, so they have more time to reproduce. So if you see more varroa on drones, that would be why. And this one is super controversial, so I told my Chris, I was like, oh, I'm going to start like a little war with this question. But why is it suggested you test each hive for varroa and only treat your hive if it's needed instead of treating every hive? This is per Dr. Saruda, so please don't kill the messenger. She said it's a waste of money to treat your hive if you don't need to, so hence checking each hive, and it can lead to drug resistance. So her point was only treat if you have a reason, don't treat every hive. So that just like between us caused like a huge, oh my gosh, you know, like when we were at home, why, is that true? Do we want to do that? Because do you have the time? And does that make sense? And there's like a ton of things to talk about with that, but that was it. And it was so recommended. If you haven't taken this class, I could see where you would learn stuff every year. She's amazing.
You're on the next list there, Chris.
All right.
Chris is, you remember last meeting, we had our one volunteer here to go with the TBA person. Volunteer to go with the TBA person so we can get some event planning done within the regional areas of the Middle Tennessee area. So Chris volunteered with a little shove, and he's doing a good job already, so this is his presentation.
I was volunteered.
We call it voluntold.
Yes. So this is just the update from the Tracy Finnegan from our meeting from last month, and talking about the TBA regional event that she's planning. And each of the regions are going to be putting one on, or at least so far, each of the regions are going to be putting one on. And so the possible dates for this, for ours, is going to be either September 24th or October 1st. They have a couple of locations that they're checking out that it's not been settled on where it's going to be. So one is Cumberland University. The other is the Day Spring Academy, and that's in Greenbrier. And then Ellington Agricultural Center down in Nashville. And they each have their pluses and minuses as far as what they're looking for, but basically what they're trying to find is something that can handle a large number of people, parking, and what they want to do is have some sort of hands-on thing with some of the presentations, so they're looking at places that we can bring bees. And some of the things that have been, topics that have been brought up is drone marking clinic to practice marking your queens, but marking drones, doing splits, overwintering bees, swarm prevention, hive issues, pest testing for mites, just having a basic hive inspection, and comfort hive demonstration. I don't really know what that is, but if anybody knows what a comfort hive is. And then they also wanted some things, they wanted some ideas for speakers. So if you guys have any ideas, just send me an email or get with me after the meeting today. And but what they're looking at is ideas for speakers to come. I mean, obviously, everybody's always, Cayman Reynolds has already been suggested, so you don't have to suggest him, because he's always suggested. And then, but any type of hands-on event that you want, any speaker that you might know, and this could be a speaker for anything that's basically honey related. So it doesn't have to be like doing hives, but it could be making lotion or making lip balm or anything like that. Because they want to have classes for that type of thing. Basically, the structure of it right now is an idea is to do like a beginning hands-on course in the morning, and then, well, along with classes during the day, and then have a more advanced beekeeper hands-on in the afternoon, or vice versa, however they work it out. And then, but also other classes or speakers going on. And then they want vendors, some like food trucks. They want to have a honey show. They want to do, like if you do some art, they want to have like maybe an art exhibit or anything like that. These are just suggestions. These doesn't mean this is what's going to happen. These are just things that are being thrown out there right now. Wax rendering, and that's pretty much it. So if anybody has any ideas, we're going to meet like in 2 weeks again. So you have plenty of time, and just give it to me and I will pass it along. So there you go.
What are they doing with these throughout the state, right? Each region has its own group like you?
Yeah, so each region is putting together something like we are, and I think there's 8 for our region. So basically down Nashville, clear up to Montgomery County, and we're basically like the northern Middle Tennessee portion. And each region is supposed to be putting on some sort of event. So, like this one, it's just gonna be a one-day event. And they're calling it a conference right now, but it could be something else. This is what we're planning. And one of the other regions is planning a conference also, but we're like the only two that have settled on some sort of idea so far. The others, as far as I know, right now, they might have by now, but haven't decided what they're gonna do.
Okay.
Okay.
So our volunteers are working hard. All right. We'll go through these things later, but the next one is the speakers. So Jessica, you're up next. And anybody doesn't know Jessica Dodd, just look at the back of my car. It's got a nice B license plate on it, okay? She is the thought process right there that brought all that to fruition. I'll let her talk about it a little bit, and I'll let you go with that.
All right, that sounds good.
I'll give you a better, if I knew you better, I'd get you.
That's all right. Thank you. Switching slides. Oh, yeah. So my name is Jessica. I'm a beekeeper, obviously, just like you guys. And I started Honeybee, Tennessee. I'm in Wilson County, Lebanon, Tennessee, right outside of Nashville. I've been keeping bees since 2014. Started with 2 hives, kind of progressed from there. I'm going to try to go quick because I know you guys are cutting close on time. I won a scholarship with the Wilson County Beekeepers. I've been the TBA Beekeeper of the Year in 2018. But I got into bees by going to the fair. I saw Carrie Mitchell and Petra Mitchell set up at the fair, and they had the observation hive, and I thought, that's cool. And I got suckered into the short course, and here we are. So, but I had an idea. There was all these years, the few years that I was keeping bees and representing just the local club and going out and talking to the schools. And I thought, man, there's such a lack of education. Kids just don't know about agriculture and about honeybees and the importance of that. They're so focused on test, but yet they can't write cursive. I don't know what's wrong with the school system, but is there a teacher in here? Yeah. Sorry. It drives me nuts. My mother wrote my stepsons a birthday card, and they couldn't read it. I had to. They're 15, by the way, and they couldn't read. Had no idea. So sad. So I thought, man, there needs to be some. We got the club and the TVA, but I feel like there needs to be an opportunity for that next generation. And I joke with the Wilson County Beekeepers when I joined 8 years ago or more, everybody was 60 and over. And I was like, wow. All right. So obviously none of them, because they're retired and they had a really busy schedule, wanted to go to schools. They didn't have the energy. They were over it. Fine, I don't care. So I got volunteered a lot for that. But then I was driving down the road one day and I saw a turkey tag. Yep, a turkey tag. The state of Tennessee has the turkey tag. It's the stupidest tag, personal opinion. It benefits, though, the TWRA, which is great. They do great things. So I looked up, what does the turkey tag benefit? Literally, the answer is TWRA. I mean, I can think of a million things that TWRA does, but I thought I would get a little more information. But obviously not, because it's a government-affiliated association. So you can't get information from them. But I thought, why don't we have a tag? Why aren't the honeybees representing not having a tag? We need a tag. So I thought, I'm going to figure out how to get a tag. So I called the state, and she's like, well, you have to have a nonprofit. I was like, great. Now I got to start a nonprofit. So I started a nonprofit in 2017. Honeybee Tennessee became a nonprofit. And then this is Mark Pody. He was the representative at the time, so he put in the bill for me and gave that to Governor Lee so we could start the process of the license plate. What a process. Y'all probably saw me at TBA, all kinds of festivals. The process is you have to get 1,000 pre-sales. So what that means, you have to ask 1,000 people for money up front, and they don't get anything in return right then. Okay? Now, in my mind, I thought, that's easy. I know 1,000 people. There's over 1,000 people registered in the state of Tennessee as beekeepers. Let me tell you, beekeepers are cheap. Beekeepers were the worst crowd that I approached about this license. I went and I set up everywhere. I pulled every contact I had. I was in the paper multiple times. I went to every festival and fair across the state of Tennessee. I had people, I was speakers, all of that. Well, I failed. I did not get 1,000 pre-sales in my 12 months that Governor Lee gave me. I cried. Grown woman cried. Had people talk about me. Had people demanding that they know where this money is. I'm like, it's in an account. Like, it's there. So I was like, you know what? I'm not giving up. I asked Mark Podius, can you put in another year for me? He said, I sure will. And Governor Lee said, you got 12 more months. That's when I got nasty to people. And I started telling beekeepers, y'all are cheap. I know how much I spend on bees and equipment. Give me $35 for his pre-sale. Well, it was great. I got it. I finally got it. I'll never forget where I was. I was at the honey convention in Knoxville. And I finally got somebody. Then my feelings got hurt even worse when somebody said, oh, well, since you got the 1,000, I guess I'll sign up now. Ugh. Cried again like a baby that night. Well then, there I am. Woo! COVID hit. It also takes 6 months for the state to produce these tags. So here is this 6 months where nobody's hearing anything, right? Nobody's received a tag. Where's my tag? Where's my money? But I was like, I don't know, because I sent it to the state. And then that was the day I got the phone call. This is my local courthouse. They knew me. Okay? They knew me. So I went up there and I finally, obviously I have 1 through 3. And we got it. So then it became, well, what's Honeybee Tennessee going to do? Right? Like, I knew I wanted to educate people and I knew I wanted to focus on that next generation and provide an opportunity, but like, once again, I didn't know if I was going to get this license plate going and funding and whatever. I sold t-shirts. And so our mission, Honeybee Tennessee, to educate the community on the importance of honeybees and agriculture and their environment. Honeybee Tennessee seeks to inspire Tennesseans to take action to protect, preserve, and foster the state's honeybee population. So, what I decided, that next generation once again. We help schools and educational facilities. I wanted to give kids an opportunity to not only learn about honeybees, but have an opportunity to even be a beekeeper, to look in the hive. You guys know we could sit here and hold pictures all day long of a honeybee on a flower and every kid could care less. But you put live bees in front of them, and that is a whole nother part of their brain is open. Their creativity, their wheels are turning, and questions start coming. And I wanted that for them. I visit from pre-kindergarten to 12th grade, civic organizations and clubs. I was telling Heather, just last week, I went to 3 schools, and I spoke to over 9 classrooms in 1 week. That's a lot of kids. An average to 20 to 30 kids per classroom. That's a lot of kids. Got a lot of interesting questions. Got a lot of fun stories, you know. My cousin's sister got stung once, kind of story, y'all know. But you can find us at festivals, conferences, all kinds of places. I've been at the TBA numerous years. We help sponsor the TBA. So now the question was, well, what are you guys doing? Well, this is what we're doing. We actually donated money to the University of Tennessee and the Knoxville Zoo, and they are collaborating together to do a hive project / research. So what that means is the Knoxville Zoo will get observation hive and bees for the public to look at. They're also going to put some bees, and this is not with Jennifer Saruta, this is with Dr. Larry, and they're going to be able to do research. Who's doing the research? College kids, interns, getting that degree in their bachelor in science. They're getting an opportunity to go into hives and do research. So we've donated to them. A few of our high schools, we've done Beach High School in Hendersonville, McMinn County Central High School in Athens. We've donated to them. So now I've got high school kids in these FFA programs that are now have the opportunity to be beekeepers, to get into hives. The Sam Davis home in Smyrna, it's a historical house. They actually had bees there. A professor from Belmont partners with them, works there, but they needed some equipment. It's kind of funny, they were calling me out to bring an observation hive. I live 45 minutes away. I'm like, y'all had bees. Like, why? So I was like, well, why don't y'all apply for a grant to get some money to order your own observation hive, and then somebody just goes and sticks them in. It makes a little more sense. So we helped get them some equipment and their own observation hive. And then our newest project that is really exciting is the Nashville Zoo at Grassmere. This is the Croft House. So a little history of the Nashville Zoo. The Croft sisters owned all of the land where the zoo is, and they donated it. And the house still stands. So when you get to the house area, that's when I kind of say you step back in time in Tennessee. There's cows, there's donkeys, there's pigs, there's a barn owl, there's goats. So your basic, farm animals for the state of Tennessee. Well, one thing that it was lacking down there was honeybees. And so they had an observation hive. Y'all are going to love this. This is great. They had an observation hive in their building next to a window, and they never covered it. It's like ants with a magnifying glass. And they wondered why they died all the time and swarmed all the time. And so it just was never good. And so we re-collaborated, figured it out. They've got a barn down there, and we've taken that whole, we've got a room, and it's the beekeeper room. They've got 3 hives on the property, and so they're going to be able to rotate who goes in the observation hive so that it doesn't stress them out. Really cool stuff. No light will be on them. It'll be motion censored, so when people go in, the light will come on, and then when they go out, the light goes out. So it'll stay dark in the room. They won't be exposed to light that often. So it's really exciting. A lot of people ask, well, when you donate to them, you just here's some money and throw them to the wind. Yes. No, I'm just kidding. With the zoo, we actually did a 2-day beekeeping short course class. I can't go to the zoo every day. I couldn't have John Radcliffe or Buzz from NAVA. We can't go to the zoo every day. So all of these people are zookeepers in different areas. It was really cool, across the zoo. And we did a short course class with them. And when we had that past storm, they called in a panic because what did they find? A swarm from a tree that had fallen over. So oh my God, we got our first bees! But they never caught a swarm, but they had all the equipment and the suits, so they were pretty excited. So it was a great class teaching them. They're really excited. This is the room down here in the corner where the ladder is. That's going to be the room. They're doing an awesome display of historical beekeeping items with the observation hive. Like I said, they're going to have the other hives. You'll be able to see them. They're planting tons of native flowers. It's going to be pretty cool at the zoo. Honeybee Tennessee, we're all over social media. Would love for you guys to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Some of the fun stuff, I represented beekeepers at Ag Day on the Hill. I asked beekeepers across the state if they would send me a jar of honey, and 4 people did. And so, yep, calling beekeepers out again. It's my favorite thing. No, it was really cool. And for those who don't know Clay Odell, he sent me sourwood honey. And everybody's like, dang, you got Odell to send you honey? I'm like, show did. Yeah. But the cool thing about that, he has actually had that honey tested. And so he has the paperwork that it is 98% sourwood honey. So therefore he can call it truly sourwood honey. So that, I thought that was pretty cool. And then I had another person send me creamed honey, and then I had 2 wildflower honeys, and they looked completely different. So it was really cool to show, you know, Governor Lee and everybody, all the representatives, like the different honeys across the state, and they got to sample them. I'm like, you want to try honey? Try this one. Try all 4, you know. And it was a very windy, rainy day, but it was all right. Heather and I were talking about, that's my seagull frame observation hive. That's what I take to my schools when I go visit real quick. We've got apparel, cups, and apparel on our website. But you may wonder, like, so how do we do that? How can a school or an educational facility get involved? They contact us, and we've got different grant options. So you do have to be a school or a nonprofit organization. We do a monetary grant of $1,500. We do equipment grant of an indoor observation hive, a traditional top bar, and then we do equipment, gloves, jackets, all that kind of stuff. This just explains, you guys know what hives are, the top bar hive and all that. My contact information, if you guys know a school or anything. So one thing that I do need from you beekeepers is if you know a school that may be interested, and a lot of times this is typically like high schools with FFA programs that are interested in having bees, they can contact me and I can help them work on getting a bee program and getting them a grant. Also, I don't know the high school here. Is there Athens High School?
Cheatham County.
Okay, Cheatham County High School. We're going to use them as an example. So we hooked up with them. They're getting apiary. Well, I can't drive, 55 minutes up here to be a mentor, but obviously you guys are some pretty cool and well-educated beekeepers. And I'm not saying it has to be one person, but if you guys would, rotate and be willing to help them and guide them. On our application, we do have, they do have to have a mentor. The teacher has to take a short course beekeeping class. So I'm not just like, we do.
We already tried that.
Yeah, exactly. That don't work. And just when I say we, Honeybee Tennessee, we are a nonprofit. We do have a board. I serve as the director. I founded it, but I do serve as the director, but I do have a board to answer to. John Radcliffe, many of you probably know John. He does a lot of cutouts. He's kind of famous for that. He's the president. I don't think Dale McCleskey, he's Wilson County beekeeper. He's on there. Got a few other kind of randoms across the state. So I do have a board to answer to. They're pretty lame. We won't talk about them. But yeah, so I do have if you do know a school or an educational facility and you guys ever would be interested in being a mentor for the schools, and like I said, you don't have to just be the one person, if you just, hey, they've got an issue or something, can they just call the club at least and say, so that's what I look for, throughout local clubs and the TBA is some, mentors that are willing to help the schools and do all that. Another grant option that I don't advertise, but I will tell you about, in the traditional grant writing world, a teacher or whoever, you have to do a pretty extensive, almost like an essay when you ask for a grant, just like if you were to do one with the state of Tennessee or something like that. And so I have that option also. If a teacher I had a teacher make her student write it. It was, it's a great skill to have. And it was actually McMinn County Central High School. They none of the grant, which I call my generic options, were good for them. They needed 30 suits. They had gotten equipment donated, they got bees donated, but they needed 30 suits, and y'all know that's a big expense. And so she got her FFA president, and she wrote, and it was just one page, saying that they were going to put bees there and da-da-da-da-da, and who was donating for the other stuff. The local club donated some equipment and stuff like that. And so she wrote out, and so it was around $3,500 for that. But luckily we had the funds, and it was the beginning of the year, and that's what we did. We bought 30 suits and gloves for the kids. So I also, tell people if they don't need, something that's already have, they can always do a grant writing and ask for something specific. So, any questions?
Any questions?
And so Honeybee, Tennessee is funded by the license plates. So a lot of people are confused about that. So when you get a specialty license plate, any specialty license plate, I don't care if it's Dolly Parton or Titans, you pay an extra $35. The state keeps most of that, and then we get like $14 and some change. So, obviously you can guys see, we put it right back out there. I've, given it to the schools and the other educational sponsor of the TBA conference, things like that. So, but any other questions? Yes.
Okay. We've done some education in the schools here.
Mm-hmm.
If a club wanted to continue that or do something, could we request funding to set something up?
To set up an apiary for them?
Well, no, not that. We go into the elementary school
Mm-hmm.
and we take the supplies and everything to make the room like a beehive. And each student represents a bee.
Right.
So then we turn the classroom into a beehive.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes if we continue doing that or try to get it going again, that would require funding.
Right.
Like antennas, clean.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Like I said, that'd be one of those traditional, write up kind of the proposal of like what you've done in the past, if you have pictures, and then I present it to the board. So, if there's 13 people on the board, like I said, they're pretty lame. They usually go with what I go with, So we've never turned down anybody yet, so, but why not?
We had a pretty good thing going there for a while.
Yeah.
We had the kids loved it. They would go out and look, searching the flowers, and the flowers had little sticky balls on for pollen.
Pollen,
They had to
bring
put
back.
that and bring it back to the hive. And we'd make, some of the boys would make them the guards to the, make them.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah.
We told them all the jobs that bees do, and this is the queen, and we had one with a little hat, and that was
Yes.
pretty fun.
How many tags have been sold?
So that's hard to give you a number. Let me tell you how that works. We get paid quarterly, and it's never the same amount because people don't renew or people buy in, and so those numbers always fluctuate. Then somebody the other day is like, man, I saw tag 9,000 and something something. Let me tell you how that works. Each county is distributed a generic 10 tags. So just because 9,000 and something sold in Memphis doesn't mean that there's 9,000 and something tags because 2,000 and something just got sold in DeKalb County. Okay? So it's never the same number. It goes up and down. So it's kind of hard to tell. I don't know the number. So when I turned in the initial sale, there was a 1,200. Those 200 people finally decided to get one because we got 1,000 resales. So I do know there's over 1,200. So yeah. Any other questions?
how many of us have the beekeeper license plate?
I don't know.
I saw most of them. I want one next.
I will say that fills my heart. I did go to a club and I spoke. They actually asked for money, and only one person in that club had a tag. So it kind of
Raise those hand again as soon as they.
And then who's going tomorrow to get one? All right. Yeah. So, and a lot of people have asked, Can you get it handicapped? Yes, you can. Oh my God, who's TVA president? David Hale. Anyway, TVA president. I'm brain dead right now. They do the little wheelchair sticker, and you can put it on the corner of a specialty tag now. So you can, if you have that paperwork, I guess you'd say. Also, if you literally just decided tomorrow you want to go get it, but your tag's not up until August, they'll just prorate the time. So you can get it at any, you don't have to wait the whole year. So if you got an ugly blue tag, you should definitely go tomorrow.
Compliments to the graphic designer on that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I know I got a lot of crap because bees don't pollinate irises. So, but it's our state flower. So that's why I wanted it on there. Thank you.
I didn't know.
Now, that's sure a lot more fun than watching somebody pour alcohol on bees. Okay. Thanks, Jessica. That was very well done. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, we tried the high school thing. We had 2 hives over at the local high school, and the high school guy didn't do hardly anything to get the kids interested.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It definitely takes a good teacher, and I've noticed that.
Now what you, yeah.
Y'all like my background picture for the record? That's my hive last year.
Yeah,
I had a hive beetle.
You know what those little black
infestation.
things are, Jessica?
Oh yeah. You'll just. I actually raised hive beetles last year. Hive beetle pro. Yep.
You just need to start asking for references from the students. Like if you want something, also 10 references from students about what a great teacher you are.
Pictures up on the license plate. I mean, I'll probably, okay. All right, here's the best news I got for you today. We have an inspector class. 18 to 19 July. Mike called me last week and said, how's that look for you? I said, we'll make it work. Okay, so 25 people can go. They want 5 years experience, like she said before. Okay, I told them, I said, we've got a nice church that we can have it at. I called Caroline, we got it set. 18th and 19th of July is a Monday and a Tuesday.
Oh, never mind.
Okay? They wanted you to have the 5 years. They said if you can, get the master beekeeping class, but it's not a requirement. Okay? And so 25 people, that is the max that, I mean, that's how many he says can do it. So if we don't have 25 people, I asked him if it's okay if they had somebody sitting in the back, and I'll mute them for you. However, they will be there and bringing food. So that's the trick. Okay? So if you don't have 5 years experience, you at least can make a
brownies
or a casserole or something. Okay? So we can have some food that night. There's 2 nights. All right? So don't disappoint me. Sign up for the bee inspector class today. Okay? So we can get 25 people in there.
Where do people need to sign up through, Chris? Through you, through Mike, through the website?
Through me, through us.
Okay.
And I'll send him the list of names and I'll double check that when I get it. But yeah.
How much is it?
He didn't tell me a price. He does the inspection class for, is that price that was up there, 125?
No, the 125 was last year.
That was your class.
That's got to be free.
It's free.
Yeah.
It's free.
I didn't pay for mine the first time I did it.
Yeah.
How do you sign up for the class?
Sign up.
Do you want
Get a
to?
piece of paper, let's start.
Okay, we'll put it on the table right here.
All right, put me down.
Put Chris down.
Be the mean version of Roman Coliseum left, you know.
Hold on. Give us this paper. Oh, there you go. Great.
No, yeah, we'll put down like the spectator area, like the spectators area. But if
If we don't get 25 people out of our club, we're gonna go search another club. We're gonna fill this place up. We're gonna make Mike work for his living. Okay? Because
spectators,
he's sure taking a long time to get back with us on Tuesday.
spectators for it.
Yeah, in fact, I've had some of you call.
When did
I don't know if,
Oh, it's hosted by
Had some
UT?
people call, I'll look up my
Oh, that's
notes and
cool.
see if
We went to the school in
if they
UT.
still want to go to the
Yeah,
inspector.
I graduated.
Words out, you got it.
6 months away from, like, you know,
It's May, I told you in May, you got June, you got July. So you got 2 months to get the word out to any other club members that haven't attended. We'll put it out in the minutes that we have a bee inspector class and that we, for 18 and 19 July. So, and then from there we'll go out to Montgomery and Dixon. I think the guy who called me was from Dixon, so, and probably Robertson as well. So, oh, he wrote it to me in an email and I'll put it out to you. What was the question? 5 to 9 or something like that?
Which is they
Or 6 to 10 or something like that. It's an
I can
evening, it's an evening,
all
it's
of
an
it, 'cause
evening
I'm a
afternoon.
costumer, that's what I do, it's for
So I don't know exactly what the times are, let me get
That
back
was
with you
child's
on
play
it.
for me, I can do that.
I forgot to write it in my notes, so.
Yes.
Nothing. Free, free. But he's gonna, he wants to make sure that people have 5 years' experience and a little bit of knowledge about what the pests are for the bees and the diseases that are for the bees. So read up on all that, okay? Read up on all that, you know? So, because what he's trying to do is, it takes a long time when you've got somebody who doesn't know anything, and they want to ask questions. So that's why I said, anybody who's a new beekeeper with less than 5 years is going to be muted. Okay? We'll have some masking tape at the door. Well, we'll think of something.
Right,
Okay,
newbie.
you can always write on a pad your question and send it to somebody who's got 5 years experience. There, get around that. Let's see what else we have here. All right, I was going to talk about checkerboarding frames and so that you can go into your hives and get a little bit more frames pulled the wax out while they're doing it so well right now. Okay, this is the best time if you need wax on frames is to get it into your hives and get them working on it. Okay, the easiest way to do that is to take a frame of honey out, put a new frame in, or something like that. Okay, you want to make sure you get an empty frame in that hive so that it can be pulled out, so you have that available later. Or they'll fill it up, you just get another one in there. Just swap it out. You can put those frames of honey in a freezer or something like that. That way you'll have it for feeding the bees later in the summer when they're hungry. Or you like the rest of us do it, and feed them sugar syrup until they stop going for it. You know? But that was just one of the things. Checkerboarding is nothing more than having a frame that looks like this, and then put a plain slick frame on here, which just has foundation on it, and the next frame you over is going to have one just like this, so that they can measure between the frames and they build them out so that it's nice like that on both sides. It's not sticking out with another piece of, you know how sometimes they'll come out and they'll make a piece of wax like that on it? Okay, that kind of prevents that because they have to measure. You've seen them doing their little telescoping across the frames and measuring the hive that they've got how far they have to go, so they know. Pretty smart.
And the purpose of doing that is what?
To have frames with wax on them available. So often we run around without wax on our frames, and we get it in there in August when they're not really interested in waxing up that frame. So it's always good to have a few extras in there. Let's see.
So that's clear, but I've also heard some beekeepers talking about melting and then painting. Is that as similar, not at all the same as what you're doing?
No, we're letting them go ahead and pull it out.
Okay.
Now, if you want to pre-wax your frames, most of these plastic frame companies pre-wax them for you already. Okay, so that's not an issue unless you want a heavy-duty coating on there, which I think is not worth the effort, quite honestly. You know, but if you get a little coating that comes from the manufacturer, that gets them interested and it gets them measuring. And then they have to measure correctly if you have something in their way that looks like what they're supposed to do. So that's just the way bees are. And they'll make those little things everywhere. I know, I cleaned a bunch of them out every week. Okay, honey harvesting, it's getting that time. Who's already started?
We
Yeah,
started.
Let me tell you, they're putting it away. They are putting it away.
We're
I
about
had
to put it in
put in some
jars now.
supers on some other hives this week. And watch them closely. This is the time when they get honey bound. This is the time when they get pollen bound. And that means the queen has no place to lay. So you've got to go in there and take one of those frames that you just got done last year, and put it right there where the queen can lay in it. So it's empty for her, you know. And that's why you need those kinds of frames. This is the one you want to stick in there for her to lay in. So she doesn't get the idea that there's no place for me to lay and I'm going to have to go. Can't pull my legs together. Whatever. I know, I'm exaggerating. Okay. Trying to get you to laugh. It worked. Okay. So honey harvesting, the club owns 2 extractors. We have one at my house and we have one, we don't have one outside, but we do have 2 at my house. We have 2 at my house that are to be used by the club membership. So if you need to plan on your extracting, most people will start extracting late May, early June time frame, sometimes wait until even July sometimes. When are you going to start extracting, Tyler?
I could fit it in my schedule.
When you fit it in your schedule? It's not Monday and Tuesday. Okay. And, yeah, they're putting it away. Like I said, I had to put 2 supers on the hives down at the dam, and I've been putting them on my hive, so. And it also keeps them from, a little bit, if they have room in there, it keeps them from thinking about swarming, you know. But you know they've already thought about it and they've already made up their mind if you go in there and find swarm cells. How many have done that already? You know? How many have found empty swarm cells? Uh-huh.
How many watch the swarm take off?
Yeah. At least they didn't go over the bluff last time. They went into my barn and got into some hives in my barn when I was working on somebody else's bees. So I come home, my husband, did you get my text? What? The biggest swarm ever. It's in the barn.
In a hive? That's not so horrible.
I had boxes stacked in the barn, and they went right in there. And when I pulled it out to make it into its own hive, it turned out it was a deep and 2 mediums, full of bees.
Oh my God!
That's a new hive, you know. And so that's a lot of bees, but you know, this is that time of year when the big swarms are, you know, not those little ones we'll get later. That's probably somebody wanting to swarm. Hopkinsville, Kentucky, they want to, yeah. They'll leave a message, excuse me. Sorry about that. Stick it in. No, I don't have time to go out, but that's 7:30 at night, no.
Mine goes on do not disturb.
Yeah, I've got some really calls from far away. I'm going, oh, here's the best one though. It was below 840 and it's 15 foot up in the air over a road, in the middle of the road. I said, well, it won't be there long. It'll be there without me. But you can't get them all. You know, you like to, but you can't. So just remember, honey harvesting. I would really love this club to try and. We used to get together and do extracting back in the day with Paul Carter and everybody. He had a honey hut and he had the equipment and everything. If you guys want to think about doing something like that, we need to kind of plan on it. So we have a place that has. It's clean, it's it's, you just, you've got someplace to cut it. We did it at Mickey's too, but it's in his house, and that, I felt bad about that, but, you know.
You want it somewhere you can go inside to keep the bees out, because if you do it outside or in an open barn or something,
Yes.
you won't get very far.
There'll be a lot of robbing going on. And it's not just from the guy who's dipping his finger in there. You know, it's from the bees coming in to get what they think is theirs, which was. So, the other little thing I was gonna just go over is these can be used for testing for mites, okay? You can get these at some places that we go to, like conferences, they always have the coolest stuff on the table, right? And you go, what in the heck is that? Okay, so what you do, let's say you want to test for mites in this hive that's as ornery as can be. Usually they're ornery for a reason, right? Maybe they've got mites. Maybe they've got no queen. Maybe they're just pissy. Maybe they're, you know, there's all kinds of reasons bees get angry, okay? I've got 2 of them like that, and I'll bring up that other thing just a second, is they'll get their queen replaced, okay? You know, so that we don't have that. But I have this at home, and then I've got a half cup measurement that holds 300 bees. What you want to do is you go into your hive, and you look for a frame with brood on it, and larvae and eggs, okay? The bees that are on that hive are generally nurse bees. You want to get nurse bees because they're the ones that just came out of the cells. They get around every crevice and everything, cleaning and pulling dead bodies out, and all kinds of stuff they do. But you want the nurse bees because they're the ones usually have their mites on them. So you put it in a box that's probably a little bigger than this, and you just shake it. The ones that are left in the bottom are nurse bees because they haven't really got their flying lessons yet. Okay, no ticket says they can't fly. So once you get them shaken down into a corner, you just get yourself a half a cup, 300 bees. Now don't cry. 300 bees on a frame. A deep frame holds 7,000 new bees coming out almost daily. Okay, 300 is not. You're trying to save the others. Okay, you can put it in something like this, excuse me, and close it up, and then you can pour some alcohol in it by taking this off, and pour some alcohol. Usually 7% does, I think it does it, 7-9%. Pour it in there. Yes, you're going to kill the bees, okay? Then you put this back on, give them a good shake. About a minute. Let it drain down. All the mites will be down here. Bees, dead bees will be up here. You want to count less than 5 for 300 bees, right? Okay, so you're looking at a percentage. So that right there, if it's over 5, that hive needs treating. If it's less, then you make a corporate decision and you decide whether, you know, what time of year is it? Well, it's July. Well, maybe I better give them a treatment because we want them to go into winter a little bit light on the mite, not heavy on the mites. So you might want to get them at 3.
Just make sure they don't get the queen.
Just don't get the queen. Exactly. Don't get the queen. How many of us have done that?
Those that have it, those that will.
Yeah. I'm really bad at it. Never say never, right? Never say never. Okay, so I have these 2 little gadgets, and then I made these one year. This fits a wide mouth jar, wide mouth pint, so I got 4 up here that anybody can come up here and grab one. Or you can get these little plastic ones, which we got at the last thing. They were pretty green. They fit a regular pint jar, and you can shake them up and then pour the liquid out. Pour the liquid out. Pour it in something white, okay, so you can count the mites. And what do mites look like? They look like little footballs, and they're tan. And so you count the number of mites, and then you know exactly how many you got for 300 bees, and you know how strong that hive is and how many mites you can anticipate. So that's the time when you want to treat. Now that's as simple as it gets.
How often do you want to test for them?
I would test before August, personally. Because I want my bees going into the fall as strong as they can get. The bees that are coming into the fall in October, November are your winter bees. They're the ones that last the longest, so you want to make sure that they're the healthiest. So, if you suspect something, you can test them. Any questions? Okay. I think that was all I had. Let's see. Huh? Oh, splitting hives. Okay, does anybody not know how to split a hive now? Most of us have split hives before now.
I split and I'll die, so I would say no, I don't know how to split hives.
All right, come on over to my place and we'll get some hive split here. All right. You're just down the road from me, so. And I think that's all I had.
We just have two things. One, we have a raffle prize because Christy created some homemade lip balm.
Oh, that's cool.
So we have that as a raffle prize, and also the things to mention
Oh,
for
that's
sale.
right. On the back, we bought these equipment from a guy who was getting out of the bee business, and it's never been used. So they've got some deep frames back there. They've got a smoker, and they've got what else is back there? A bee suit. So if you want to check any of that, and there's some plants in a box. What's that?
Plants in a box.
Plants in a box? Yeah, what are they?
Tomatoes and peppers and things.
Okay. So if you see anything there you want to buy, we got a price list here. And the club's not making a lot of money. They're trying to just get their money back, essentially. So if you wanted to make a little donation over and above what she says it's worth, cost for the club, then go ahead. And we're not trying to rake you over the coals right now, so.
Chris, we're gonna have Jessica pick a number for the raffle prize.
Who's got tickets?
What's the number? Oh, we're gonna do number because we just had the one raffle. What's the between?
1 to 28.
Between 1 and 28? I'm gonna go with 16 because it's my birthday.
Hey. That would be Jennifer, who just stepped out.
Too bad. The rest of the you lose.
You have to be present to win.
Oh my gosh. No, I was gonna actually ask you guys, now that we have a swarm, if like maybe like once a month you guys can come out and check